Alright mates, how's it going? 'Tis chapter 19 of Rise of the Horde by Christy Golden. There's no green model for Grom, so that's annoying. But let's go!
I too am proud that I can name Kil'Jaeden and Draka as my parents. I am proud of their courage, but at the same time, I wish there had been more they could do. But I offer no judgment on any, save a handful of...
Mate, just get on with it. You've been telling this story for 3 months now. Gul'dan was so excited he could barely contain himself. He'd been waiting for this, ever since Kil'Jaeden had first spoken of it. The glorious being had delayed the giving of this new gift a little bit, informing Gul'dan that timing is everything, and the same blow delivered too early or too late does not kill, only wounds. Which was an odd choice of metaphor, but probably nothing to worry about. But the day was now nearly upon them. Now, Gul'dan and Ner'zhul stood in the courtyard of the Black Temple beside an empty pool, waiting in anticipation. But, for several hours, they just stood there in utter silence like complete lemons. For a moment, Gul'dan wondered if he'd done something to piss Kil'Jaeden off, which caused him to start sweating a little bit. But then, as he glanced at Ner'zhul, the thought that perhaps tonight would be the night that the defiant shaman would finally be slain popped into Gul'dan's head, and that cheered him up a bit. A sudden loud crack of thunder then made both Gul'dan and Ner'zhul gasp aloud, and as they looked up, they saw a black emptiness in the sky. And then it cracked open, sending something bright and blazing plummeting down towards the earth, directly in front of them, knocking Gul'dan right on his ass. Behold, my lieutenant, Mannoroth. On other worlds, they call him the Destructor. But here, he is the Saviour, Gul'dan. You know what I am offering your people. Yes, Gul'dan knew well what Kil'Jaeden was offering. Power beyond imagining, plus slavery for eternity. But Gul'dan did not give a single shit about the slavery part. He had no scruples. All he cared about was the power. I do know, Great One. I know and I accept my lord's most generous offer. Excellent. You are wiser than your predecessor. Gul'dan turned to Ner'zhul to gloat, but the elder shaman just stared back at him, looking pretty much the opposite of impressed. Only this special blade can do what I ask of you, Gul'dan. It was forged in the fires of the mountain in the distance. My servants have worked long and hard to craft it. You know what to do, Mannoroth. The creature nodded its huge head and then extended an arm, turning its hand upward to expose a soft, fleshy bit on its wrist. And for a split second, Gul'dan hesitated. What if this was a test? What if Kil'Jaeden actually didn't want Gul'dan to do the thing he told him to do? What if Ner'zhul had been right? Gul'dan, Mannoroth is known for many things, but patience is not one of them. The giant beast then growled slightly.
I am eager to see what will happen. Do it.
So, Gul'dan swallowed hard, lifted the blade and then stabbed Mannoroth's fleshy wrist, and got sent flying backwards from the sheer force of Mannoroth's bellow of pain. Liquid fire spouted from the wound, glowing a sickly green as it pumped into the empty pool. The injury was actually tiny compared to the vastness of the beast's body, like a pinprick, but the blood flowed steadily. Behold, the blood of the Destructor. It burns away all that will not serve you. It cleanses all thoughts of hesitation, confusion, or uncertainty. It creates a hunger that can be directed any way you choose. Your little puppet thinks he rules the Horde, but he is wrong. The Shadow Council think they rule the Horde, but they are wrong. It will soon be you, Gul'dan, who rules the Horde. The Orcs are ready. They thirst for what you will give them. Call them to you. As the now familiar horn sounded, summoning the Horde to the courtyard, Draka and Kil'Jaeden rose without a word and began to dress. The Draka then glanced at Kil'Jaeden and inhaled swiftly, as if something had startled her. What is it? Your skin. Kil'Jaeden glanced down at his bare chest to see his skin was dry and flaky, and as he scratched at it, he saw the same green tint he'd seen on Goon's skin not so long ago. It's just the light. But Draka knew that was bullshit. She lifted her own arm and scratched, revealing she too was going green. What is happening to us? But Kil'Jaeden had no answer, so he just continued getting dressed and ignored the question. Soon enough, the Frostwolf chieftain joined the amassed crowd of orcs within the courtyard of the citadel. An announcement had been made the previous day about this assembly, but they hadn't mentioned the reason for it. Probably just chosen the Horde's next target or something. We have a long march ahead of us. Warriors, your weapons must be ready, and your armor sound. Healers, have your ointments, potions, and bandages at hand. But before we march to war, we will march to glory. Blackham pointed off to the distance, towards a sullen mountain. That is our first destination. We will stand on the mountain, and what happens there will be remembered for 1,000 years. It will begin a time in which the Orcs will know power that we have never before tasted." The crowd murmured, and Juritan tensed. So, today was the day. Well, that sucks. Upon arriving at the mountain, Juritan was surprised to see that it was not Blackhand who now addressed the crowd, but Gul'dan instead. "It was not so long ago that we were a scattered people. We came together only twice a year, to sing and dance. But now look at us. We stand shoulder to shoulder, clan by clan, all under the strong, insightful leadership provided by Blackhand. Let's give him a round of applause, shall we?" The crowd cheered, yelling, "For Blackhand!" and stuff. However, Juritan and Draka did not participate. Under his shrewd guidance, and with the blessings of the beings who have chosen to ally with us, we have grown strong. We have grown proud. We have advanced further in skill and technology in the last 2 years than we have in the last 2 centuries. The threat that once loomed over us has been broken, and it will take only one final push to see it forever crushed. But first, we will pledge ourselves to this cause and receive blessings in return. Gul'dan then held up a strange chalice. It looked to be carved from the horn of some alien creature or something. "This is the cup of unity. This is the chalice of rebirth. I offer this to every leader of every clan. He in turn may offer it to anyone within his clan that he deems worthy. Who will come forth first to pledge his loyalty and receive these blessings?" Gul'dan immediately glanced at Blackhand, who was grinning like a smug idiot. But before the war chief could open his mouth to volunteer, another voice yelled out from the crowd. And Juritan thought to himself, "No, not that guy. Never one to seize the moment, dear Grommash." Blackhand looked extremely pissed off, but Gul'dan went ahead and handed the cup filled with swirling green liquid to Hellscream. And Grom didn't hesitate. He brought the cup to his lips and drank deeply, and then fell on his ass. Worried whispers rose from the crowd, and Juritan stared, horrified, as Gromash's body pulsated and quivered. The Warsong's shoulders then broadened, and his body grew, and then he got to his feet, taller than he'd ever been, more muscly than he'd ever been, and completely green-skinned. Grommash then threw his head back and shrieked, a cry louder than Juritan had ever heard before. It was absolutely terrifying. "How do you feel, Grommash Hellscream?" "I feel magnificent! Give me Draenei flesh to tear and rip! Draenei blood on my face! I will drink it down until I can hold no more! Warsongs, come forth! Not a one of you will be denied this ecstasy!" The Warsong warriors then rushed forward, all eager to have what he was having. Each one shuddered for a moment in deep pain before transforming into a hulking green maniac. And Blackhand, who looked grumpier with each Warsong that received the blessing before him, then demanded that he drink next. And so he did. And then it was Maim and Ren's turn. Then his daughter Griselda stepped forward, only for Blackhand to turn to her and say, "No, not you, bitch." 'Twas ironic, really. Blackhand's intent was to shame his daughter, but he'd unwittingly given her the greatest gift. "Come, friend Orgrim, drink. My chieftain, I will not take that glory from you. I am your second, not chieftain. I do not wish to take your position from you." Juritan then sagged with relief. Thank God for that. The other clan chieftains then lined up, anxious for the blessing, but Juritan did not move, so Drekthar leaned in. "My chieftain, do you not wish the blessing?" "No, nor will I permit any of my clan to drink." "But, Juritan, it is obvious that this drink grants great power and passion. You'd be a fool not to drink it." "I would be a fool if I did." Juritan thought back to the words Prophet Velen had once said. "We chose not to sell our people into slavery, and for that we were exiled." History was repeating itself, but now it was Juritan who defied his leaders for the sake of his people. Perhaps he and his clan would also soon be called exiled ones. But that line of thought was then interrupted when Juritan realised every other chieftain had now drunk from the chalice. A crowd of orcs now stared in Juritan's direction expectantly. The moment he'd been dreading was now upon him. "Mighty Juritan, hero of Telmor, come, drink your fill from the chalice." "No, Gul'dan, I will not do so." Gul'dan's eye kind of twitched. "You refuse? Do you think you are better than the others? Do you think you do not need the blessing?" "It is my choice. Perhaps others in your clan feel differently. Will you let them drink?" "No, I am the chieftain of the Frostwolf clan, and this is what I choose." Gul'dan then stepped down from his little pedestal and strode towards Juritan, and then leaned in and whispered in the chieftain's ear. "What do you know, and how do you know it? I know enough, and you will never discover how I learned it. With that, Gul'dan pulled back and forced a smile. It is indeed your choice, Juratan, son of Garad, and if you choose to deny yourself such a blessing, then you must bear the consequences. The words were double-edged, but Juratan didn't care. He'd made his choice. Gul'dan then returned to his pedestal and addressed the rest of the crowd. All who deserve the blessing of the mighty Kil'Jaeden have now received it. Think of this place as hallowed ground. Think of this mighty mountain as the throne of Kil'Jaeden, where he sits and watches and blesses us. Gul'dan then looked to Blackhand as if to say, that's my part done, now make a speech or something. So Blackhand did. Tonight, we attack the last remaining stronghold of our enemy. We will tear limbs from bodies. We will bathe in blood. We will storm through the streets of their capital like their worst nightmare. Blood and thunder. Victory to the Horde. And we're leaving it there! So I enjoyed the Warcraft film, but I feel the need to reiterate that the movie changed quite a few things and is not canon. So yeah, I don't know if you were expecting some kind of Mak Gorah between Juratan and Gul'dan just then, but no, that's not how it happened. Link in the description if you're interested in buying the book, as well as for my Discord and my Patreon too. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!